Ugandans, thank you very much for joining us today for Raid Friday. Muslims, happy Eid Mubarak. We hope you enjoyed yourselves. So happy Raid Friday, activists. So now my question to you is, are you wearing Raid? If you are wearing Raid, please take a selfie of yourself and post it on social media. And of course, we know that every single time we wear Raid, we show the dictator that his days are numbered. Today, we are discussing with a new generation of leaders. Today, we have Sas Marvin, Katerega Julius, Nyeko Derek, and Dr. Daniel Kolma, representing the Diaspora. So, comrades, please introduce yourself, state your name, your position in People Power if you have any, and the position you are running for in the youth elections or parliament. Sas Marvin, I'm going to go on ahead and start with you.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, our viewers. My name is Sas Marvin. I am the Deputy Team Leader of the People Power Youth Wing. I am not aspiring for any position in the youth elections or in the national elections.
Katerega Julius, please go ahead.
Yes, greetings, colleagues. My name is Katerega Julius. I am the youth president of Makerere University. The first youth president to belong to the People Power movement or from the People Power movement. I am the deputy coordinator of institutions, basically in charge of institutions in the metropolitan area. Currently, I've been also assigned a special duty of mobilization for the youth to ensure that youth participate, or what we call councillorship for Kawempe South 1. Kawempe South has been divided. I am running in Kawempe South in the areas of
So we are having a hard time hearing Katerega Julius. We are going to move on to Nyeko Derek.
Yes, Eid Mubarak to everyone. Nyeko Derek. Currently the Youth Councillor, Makindye Urban Council, representative in KCCA in Makindye. I'm also the People Power Coordinator for the youth in Kampala Metropolitan, that is Kampala, Wakiso, and Mukono, including some other parts of central Uganda. So I'm glad to join you today.
Perfect, thank you very much.
I'm also running as the for Makindye East.
Perfect, thank you. Dr. Daniel Kolma.
Oh, hi, happy Eid for everybody who is enjoying their day. Thank you for joining us and tuning in today. My name is Dr. Daniel Kauma. I'm based here in Washington, D.C. Activist, human rights advocate, among other hats, which I won't go into today, but I'm glad to be here to share some thoughts in support of our youth leaders on the ground in Uganda. Thank you for having us, and thank you for tuning in today.
Thank you very much. I know you are all very busy, but thanks for making the time to join us today. And so let's go ahead and get started. Comrade Sas Marvin, I'm going to start with you. We are now the National Unity Platform, NUP. How is NUP in harmony with People Power?
Thanks, Patricia. What comrades need to know is that NUP has not swallowed People Power per se. People Power has simply gotten a special purpose vehicle that is recognized by and within the law. People Power has gotten a platform that can help it achieve objectives that only a registered political entity would achieve. One of the issues we've been having and one of the risks we are facing in the 2021 election is the issue of a joint symbol for all candidates who are contesting as People Power or now as NUP. Yeah, that we risk a scenario where voters are confused by who is who, because if they will find Chagulanyi is having another symbol, and then they find Comrade Nyeko, who is also contesting for People Power, now having another symbol, and so that would bring confusion. So what NUP does is to solve us, because everyone who runs on the ticket of NUP stroke People Power will have one symbol, which we now know is an umbrella. But also to assuage the fears of some of the comrades out there, they need to understand that this is not the first freedom fighting movement to be registered, yeah, in the same area where it's fighting a dictator, yeah. Even the apartheid era African National Congress Party was a registered political party at the height of apartheid, yeah. Fine, it got deregistered a couple of times, but it was a registered party, yeah. So let them not lose hope. Let them not think that now that People Power has got a registered version, which is NUP, things are going to become tighter. We've just with NUP, our things are going to become more streamlined, yeah. So that's it. NUP is there, and People Power is also still there. People Power is a social movement version, and NUP is the registered version, yeah, that fits within the law. And now we've made it even much harder for government to come out and say we have banned People Power, or we have declared People Power to be an unlawful society.
Yes.
Yeah.
So basically, we have also legalized the color red, right?
Well, there are a few complications, because the color red, legally speaking, is already a registered color of the Uganda People's Congress. So while we can use it under People Power, which is not a registered entity, we may not be able to use it as an official color of NUP.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that clarification. Comrade Julius Katerega, I'm going to move on to you. So you have been involved in grassroots mobilization all week, and of course, since the People Power movement started. Ugandans that only get a chance to see you on TV, they really have no idea as to how busy you all are as People Power activists and individuals. Can you please walk us through your day from morning to sundown?
Thank you very much, Patricia. Patricia, I would like to first clarify, make it clear that it's not that we are busy every other day doing struggle work. I am partly a student, so and I'm a student leader. I want to make it clear that I still engage. I still get engaged in that direction. However, on the side of the struggle, particularly for the mobilization of the youth, particularly today, I would say I woke up in the morning and I had to head somewhere in the eastern part of the country. Now I'd only gone to bury a colleague who died in Russia 3 months ago, and we were able to ensure that he's returned. But on reaching there, I find myself engaged in activities, because when you introduce yourself, they told me to introduce myself, and I introduced myself as the guild president of Makerere and People Power movement activist. I got engaged. I met people who are running in Manafwa, who were telling me, people asking for cards, and that goes on to rotate even in day-to-day life when we are operating. In the past, in the recent days, I've been waking up early in the morning to get or to settle disputes for people, particularly mostly the parts of Kawempe, because we divided. Nyeko operates more overall we found that colleagues had formed village committees for People Power youth. You would find one village with 5 committees. So we've been trying
Comrade
to settle
Katerega,
such
We can't hear you so well. Go on. All right, so we have lost
disputes.
We can't hear you so well, so we're going to go on ahead and move on to Comrade Nyeko. In brief, have you had the same experiences, or what experiences have you had, like on a day-to-day basis?
Well, on a day-to-day basis, ever since we started the People Power movement, and with Honorable Chagulanyi leading and coming up to inspire a generation, we have seen that so many young people are into joining politics, but what they have been lacking is mentorship and direction with all their burning issues. So on a daily basis, we have been reaching out to different young people in different villages to say that we sensitize them more on what leadership is all about, so that we put up structures both in Kampala, Wakiso, Mukono. We have also reached out to so many areas up country, whereby we are going to teach them about what our vision is, what our mission is as People Power. So on a daily basis, we have been having meetings all throughout. Like only today, we have had 7 meetings reaching out to the People Power coordinators of different parishes at parish levels, so that we get to reach to them, so that they can be in position to handle all the threats and all that takes to run a youth election. We are running youth elections, and we are doing all it takes to see that we have youth stand in these positions in every zone. So it's kind of hard or difficult, because we have to let go of each and everything and concentrate only to reaching out information to see that as a generation is inspired, but the generation also has direction. So many young people are into politics now, and the decision is how can we tap into that space, and how can we, since they all want to be part of the politics of this nation. So on a daily basis, we spend more of the time having meetings, but as well we receive phone calls till like 4 or 2 in the night. The more elections get close, the more we get too tight, and the more we have to spend all our time invested in the people power or the future of our country.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Katerga Julius, is there anything else you wanted to add to this? All right, let's go on ahead and move on. Dr. Daniel Coleman, how can the diaspora supportive of change in Uganda and help the youth leaders and members of parliament on the ground?
Thank you so much for that question. I want to start by thanking and applauding the young people, not just on this platform, but the youth leaders across the country who are stepping up to serve. This is a very hostile political environment, especially for our young people. So I would like to encourage them, to applaud them, and tell them not to give up, to keep pushing forward, because they are the leaders of today, and Uganda can only change through the hands of our young people. In addition to barriers, I wanted to highlight that this environment is not going to be friendly to our young people, and we have to acknowledge that. If you just look at the example of the number of voters, we have almost 1 million Ugandan first-time voters who are shut out of the 2021 elections because of the deadline they put in December 2019. That's going to deny 4,000 Ugandans who turn 18 per day in Uganda. So in spite of these barriers which are in place, we have to keep encouraging our young people to keep pushing forward. And from the perspective of the diaspora, there are several things which we can do. One, we can continue giving our young people a platform to showcase their ideas, to make sure they get the name recognition, to make sure their ideas trickle down to the youth who mostly use social media, who use WhatsApp, Facebook. Yes, some of the message might not reach to the rural communities, but we can at least start somewhere. And I think a platform like Red Friday, other online platforms that we have, can be used, as well as other media platforms which we have a hand in the diaspora. I think can be a good way to get our young people recognized, because the mainstream media is really not giving an adequate platform for our young people to showcase their idea and message. So that's one thing we can do from the diaspora. The next thing we can do, and probably the most important, is fundraising. Fundraising is crucial for any campaign. So I encourage Ugandans in the diaspora to step up and support these young leaders.
Yes.
Most of them are students. Most of them have limited resources. You see them taking time out of school to go and mobilize across the country. They have to travel. They have to take time away from their responsibilities. So we have a duty to support them to make sure that they achieve what we're trying to do. They are our road soldiers. They're the ones actually on the ground who are making it happen. So I encourage all of us in the diaspora. You see the number on this platform. You see the website on this platform where you can go and donate. If you don't want to donate on the platform, reach out to the individual candidates. And I upload to the young leaders to make sure you make your information accessible, so we know how to reach Marvin, we know how to reach Julius Katerega, so we know how to reach Mr. Nyeko, so we know how to get to you if we want to make a donation. So I encourage you to make sure that information is accessible. And Patricia, we can probably make that contact available from the platform, the media platform, so that our members in the diaspora know how to support these young men who are doing tremendous work on the ground. And the fourth and final point, the third point, which I'll talk about today, is continue to shine the light on the quality of our elections in Uganda.
Yes.
From the diaspora, particularly making sure that we have free and fair elections. That's one of the things which we can do best in the diaspora, to make sure we continue shining a light on the actions of the government, to make sure our youth are not harassed, as is happening right now. Many people are being arrested without charges. They're being intimidated. So as a diaspora, we need to continue taking a lead on that front, not just from the human rights perspective, but making sure we have free and fair elections in Uganda. So from the perspective of the diaspora, again, let's focus on publicity, making sure we get our young people recognized. The most critical issue is fundraising, and I'm going to talk about it again. Reach out to these young people, donate through the People Power movement. We need those resources to move the campaign forward. Buy your membership. I think Mr. Nyeko talked about the People Power membership cards. Make sure you buy your membership, because we need those resources in the 2021 campaign. And finally, let's keep our eyes open. Let's continue sharing stories of what's happening on the ground. Once you travel out in the country, we need to know what's happening. Share the stories of what's happening in your neighborhood, so that us in the diaspora can know what you are doing and we can support you in any way we can possible. I think those are the three critical issues that I can think about that we can do from the diaspora. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Daniel. That was very well put. And so for those that are watching us here today, you can donate to the People Power movement at www.peoplepower.org.ug. And you can also send mobile money to the name Daniel or your ward. And the phone number is 011-256-703-636363. So thank you. We are going to go on ahead and move on to Comrade Sasmaven. Comrade, this is the first election in Uganda where we are seeing a surge of youth show interest in our youth election and politics. Why have youth not participated in past elections?
Comrade, the reasons are, in my opinion, are like 3 or 4. Number one, and they are not in any particular order, but you will remember, if you've been paying much attention to the past elections, that there has been a rhetoric from the leaders that were pre-existing before Honorable Chagulanyi came onto the scene. There was a rhetoric that these elections are useless. Yeah. So there was a lot of discouragement from people who are contesting in the elections. And so the natural reaction of youth like me and others would be to pull back a bit. Yeah. But then, but the other thing, those leaders were somehow elitist. Yeah. That they could hardly appeal to a youth who drives a border, a youth who has not gone far in school, you know. And so it was a bit hard for youth to to get involved in this what to get involved in these elections so much. But then The other reason, maybe the third reason, is that youth did not see among the people who were standing, at least from my perspective, they did not see someone that they could identify with. Yeah,
Yes.
they did not have a candidate who was appealing to them, not just appealing to them, but also saying the right things, not necessarily the things they want to hear, but
Yes.
the right things. Yeah. So when we see Honorable Chagulanyi, we see a person who is in sync with our generation. Yeah, we see a person, we see a candidate who understands our needs. Yeah, and I usually say that you cannot design a solution for a problem you don't understand so well. So we see Honorable Chagulanyi, and we finally see someone who is in our generation, yeah, who fits in our generation, who understands the aspirations of our generation, someone who appeals to us, someone who tells us, guys, even amid the seemingly insurmountable odds, it's possible. We can do it. We can get Museveni out of power and things like that. Yeah. So,
Yes.
uh, yes, there was voter apathy then, but the coming of Honorable Chagulanyi has made things a bit more interesting, a bit more encouraging for young people like me and others to participate in these elections.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Comrade Sasnabe. Comrade Katerega, how has Robert Chagulanyi Sentamu, in your opinion, how has he inspired you to participate in politics?
Thank you very much, comrade. Just like Marvin was saying when he was concluding, one of the major reasons, on top of the mobilization, still done by him, Honorable Chagulanyi has done a number of things in that have encouraged the youth to participate. Like you may know, some of us who come from the lowest of the societies down here in Uganda, I've always looked up to him as as a musician, and he has often encouraged us to live a responsible life, to live off drugs through his music.
Yes.
So when he came through as a politician, definitely very many people jumped on and realized that because very many people were following him, I mean, as a music personnel or as a music personality. So we when he closed into activism, you remember our first campaign after the Alua incident, which was in Dagamun, to get your national ID, sensitizing the youth about the importance of their vote.
Yes.
Very many of us, or very many of our colleagues, were actually encouraged to register because they now got to know information, which information was supposed to be passed on or conveyed by the Electoral Commission through different media. Here came an artist or a young legislator offering to sensitize youth
Yes.
on the need or on why they should not ignore the processes. You have seen it before. We've had presidential candidates who tell us. You remember last year when campaigns began. I mean, when the campaign to get national IDs began around 2014, the people who were going to participate in the general elections as our presidential campaign, as our presidential candidates eventually, were the very people telling us don't participate in the process. Of the process is fraudulent. I basically remember Honorable Namboze discouraging people from getting national IDs, and Dr. Besige. That is how people like Robert Mao end up not getting national IDs. When Honorable Chagulanyi came in, he has been encouraging the youth to get involved, to get their national IDs and go and register, and telling them, and you've seen them, the very people who want to come back. I've been telling people that the election since time immemorial, the people who have been fronting are the very people who have been telling people that, you know what, guys, we are just participating in this process. Elections do not change anything. I am particularly touched that the message Honorable Chagulanyi as brought to on table is a genuine message. That is a message telling people to participate, that everyone should get involved, that everyone should do their part. That is only when we can step up and say, hey, you've rigged our vote. Unlike what his predecessors or the face of opposition has been doing before. And I think that has been a major addition. On top of everything, Honorable Chagulanyi appeals to the biggest age group in this nation. Like you may know, more than 78% of the Ugandans are below the age of 30, but slightly above 85% are still below the age of 40 in this nation. So, and Honorable Chagulanyi identifies or belongs to that age group. He's only 38 years old. So when he says things, when he talks about things like OTT, which we have been vehemently fighting, he fights and he talks about things which we can relate and identify with. When he says things the certain way, we understand them better. And that is why you are seeing a surge of very many people. Just the other day, I was checking on the number of people who are going to be voting between the age of 18 and 30. And that number is approximately 8 million. It is 7.86 compared to the one of 2016, which may have been 4 point something. I am very sure that Honorable Chagulanyi's mobilization, of course, plus the joint efforts from the People Power movement, has encouraged the people to participate more in the upcoming general elections.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you very much, Comrade Katerega. Comrade Nyeko, I'm going to move on to you. People Power is a youth-led movement. How do you continue to turn a youth-led movement into a reality of true leadership?
For the first time, like my comrade Marvin said, the youth elections are whereby so many young people have come up and are calling to see that they participate. We have never seen this before. It has never happened in Uganda, where the young people feel up they should take over leadership positions. It's only now that Honorable Chagulanyi came out and made it possible, even when you do not have enough funds, because most of the young people do not have enough money to run. But I want to assure you that for only this time, we are going to see young people running in different positions of leadership, because they are fed up of the situation. Most of the young people are being killed on borders. Most of the young people, their wives are dying. So it's only this time that the young people have come up and said, let us be part of the developing up a solution. So as People Power, we have given a platform to the young people, to whoever feels he's young and he can put his energy into a bright future tomorrow. So we have space. So as People Power, we're having space for the young people to come and participate, to come and bring the new ideas, fresh ideas, to say that we develop our country, we bring fresh minds into the game of politics. Because it's no longer a game as people think, as people have been saying, as most Ugandans have been saying. These are issues that affect us at the end of the day. The high taxes, the lots of money that government is taking from, is borrowing, that at the end of the day, our children, our wives are going to pay the poor roads, and the intimidation at which people are being killed by the LDUs and the police officers, and no one says anything about it. I want to tell you that it's never before that the young people of this nation have risen up and said enough is enough. It is high time for us to participate. It is high time for us to raise a voice. It is high time for us to come up and participate and fully offer ourselves to say that we will liberate our nation. So as People Power, the platform is open, and it's going to be the only first time that the young people are going to contest in youth elections. Before, we have not had youth elections. We have been having a one-side election whereby people are voted or selected in homes, and they end up becoming the youth leaders. I want to assure the nation that the NUP, the National Union Platform, has mobilized young people in different areas of the nation. However, there have been challenges whereby some electoral officials have hidden, they are not on ground, they are not where they are meant to be, to frustrate our young people who are taking over leadership. I want to tell you, it's only this time whereby you're going to see young MPs, young mayors, vibrant, and they are willing to see that the nation is changed. With this inspiration from Honorable Chagulanyi Sentamu, he has made it possible for us to believe that we can have a better Uganda, we can have good hospitals, we can have better schools, we can have a good August House, that deliberates on behalf of the people. So we can have this future, and that future can only be done because it's us who are going to live in it. So we can only build it by offering or by doing something about it. So Honorable Chagulanyi has inspired the nation.
Thank you very much. This is equally inspired, and it makes me really happy to hear you all speak so passionately about change and about Chagulanyi Sentamu Robert. Dr. Daniel Kauma, what future do you envision for the youth of Uganda?
That's a very crucial question, and if you look at most of the speakers have mentioned, Julius and Mr. Nyeko, that the youth make up the bulk of the population in Uganda today. Over 70% of the population is under 30 years old. So if any change is to happen in Uganda, it has to go through the hands of the young people. So I think the government recognizes the changing demographics. And if you look at the political maneuvers that are happening right now in Uganda, such as the creation of new seats in parliament, the creation of new seats for the elderly Ugandans, that's a response to the energy they realize is coming from the grassroots among young people, because they're getting worried that their days are numbered in power. So I think the future of the youth is bright, especially the way young people are engaged at the moment. And our job as a diaspora is finding ways in which we give them resources to make sure they succeed. The short-term resources, I talked about them, making sure they get the publicity they need, making sure we fundraise and we advocate for them to participate in the political process. The long-term resources we can provide for our young people to succeed is leadership programs. They could be online programs, which most people in the diaspora have access to. We can share those programs with our young people back in Uganda to train them, leadership courses, so they know what to do in leadership positions. And also, education is critical for young people. So sharing education resources, scholarships, these are all resources we have access to in the diaspora. And I encourage all those who are listening from the diaspora to be willing to tap into your resources wherever you are. If you work for a university, if you work in healthcare, to find ways in which we can mentor our young people back in Uganda so they can excel, because they are the leaders, not of the future. They're actually the leaders of today. Another path is through non-profit organizations. Most of us are part of many non-profits. Most of us work in civil society. So these are things we as a diaspora can do to make sure we pave the way for the future generation to succeed. So in terms of the political spectrum alone, it's very clear that the road is bright for young Ugandans. The demographics are changing, and they're changing rapidly. And I feel in this coming election, we're going to have many young leaders stepping into the political arena, and those are going to be the vehicles to address the policies they have talked about, which are distant from the realities of young people, such as taxations, which target young people through social media and internet. That's a platform for young people to open businesses. But the current government does not realize that those policies they put in place to target young people, to stifle their voices, are at the same time blocking job creation opportunities for our young people. So we need a generation that is enlightened. That's why Honorable Chagulanyi has been able to resonate with the young generation, because they understand him, he understands them, and he's able to tap onto the needs of our generation of Ugandans. What Uganda needs today is to activate this young generation. That's all we need. We don't have to be borrowing money. We don't have to be relying on Western countries to support us in Uganda. We have the largest capital that any nation would desire. That's young people. The average age in Uganda today is 16 years old. Any good leader in any country, if Museveni had the vision, he would realize that activating this young generation of Ugandans would take Uganda to greater heights, but he doesn't have that vision. That's why we need new leadership in Honorable Kyagulanyi, and that's why I'm very confident that the young people we have are going to take Uganda to the next level. But as a diaspora, let's do our part. Let's support them. Let's offer the resources. Let's offer them the platform to showcase their knowledge, and let's offer them the knowledge, the education, and the fundraising that they need to move their campaigns forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Comrade Daniel. Comrade Sas Marvin, what future do you envision for the youth of Uganda as a leader? What future do you envision for them?
We also must have read about the story of the youth, the young border rider who set himself on fire in Masaka, yeah, at a police station in Masaka because a traffic officer wanted a bribe to return to him a bike that he had confiscated, yeah. A couple of years ago, we also a person who's fit to be our mother, that is Dr. Stella Nyanzi, stripping naked, yeah, at her workplace, at university. She knows that photos of that protest are going to haunt her children for a long time. They are going to be all over internet. They'll never go away. Yeah. This period of COVID-19 has showed us that even people who had somehow made it in life, like traders, yeah, in downtown Kampala, people who had somehow made it in life are now falling back into poverty because of one crisis like this one. So the sort of Uganda that I want is a Uganda where, or the sort of Uganda that I envision is a Uganda where youth don't have to set themselves on fire before someone listens and knows that this oppressive system, the corruption that is abundant, ceases. Yeah. The future I envision for youth in Uganda or Uganda in general is a future where youth are given opportunities based on their competencies, not on their tribe, not on their religion, not on their connections, and things like that. I want a Uganda which gives everyone, so long as they work hard, yeah? I want a Uganda which gives everyone who works hard an opportunity to make it in life, yeah? If I am Wavamuno and I'm having my thriving business, WBS and other businesses, I want a Uganda where I don't have to first pay, I pay taxes, yeah? But I don't have to first pay a bribe before I can maintain my businesses. If I refuse to let an army general buy into my business, I don't want to end up in a scenario where someone comes and says, hey, WBS, you have been defaulting on tax arrears, and so they close me down, even when they know it's not true, yeah? So I want a Uganda where rights are respected. I want a Uganda where I can come and appear on this show, and I don't have to look over my shoulders because I am afraid maybe someone is watching, maybe someone who knows me nearby is watching live as a police guy and is going to come and try to arrest me. Yeah, I want a Uganda where I can exercise my rights without any fear of retaliation. Yeah, I want a Uganda where I can speak about something or criticize a leader and I sit at peace, not worried that they are going to come and and pick me up. So that's the sort of Uganda that I want, and I have listened to the words of so many leaders, current and prospective. I have had a chance to listen to Museveni speaking. I've had a chance to listen to other opposition leaders speaking. I have had a chance to listen to Honorable Kyagulanyi speaking, and my mind is convinced, and my heart is convinced that voting him would bring me much closer to that sort of Uganda. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Let me see. Part of the reason why I joined People Power and the fight for change in Uganda is because as someone that's living in the diaspora, we all saw those injustices that were taking place. So we came back, we worked with different non-profits, but ultimately we realized that no matter what we do on that front, if we do not get rid of Museveni, the injustices are going to continue. And so it is a pleasure to be a participant and an activist within the People Power movement. Many more people can, rise up and fight on the front lines, or at least donate money to the People Power movement to push the different activities that are taking place on the ground. I'm going to go on ahead and move on to Comrade Daniel. Does the diaspora have any resources at their disposal that can be used by Ugandans contribute towards the youth empowerment and leadership.
Sorry, I was on mute. So I think the resources are the short-term resources that I discussed in terms of funding our campaign financially, using the links that we have in place. So those short-term resources can help the youth campaigns that are going to happen recently, and also the presidential election that we are going in. So the financial resources from the diaspora are very crucial. Also, people on the ground in Uganda, if you cannot afford to go and campaign, please, you can make your voice heard through campaign donations. So that's something which we need to encourage, not just in the diaspora, but also on the ground in Uganda. Another short-term issue that I talked about was publicity. If we have media platforms here in the diaspora, if you have media platforms in Uganda, especially during a time where they are trying to stifle in-person campaigns on the ground, we need to make sure we use every opportunity available through online media platforms, also media platforms in Uganda, to get the campaign message out so the message reaches the average Ugandan on the streets. Advocacy, I talked about that. I'm going to emphasize it again. We have to make sure we protect the vote. We have to protect the vote. We have to protect the candidates. So we have to make sure we put resources forward to support our candidates when they get arrested, when they get harassed. We know that's going to happen. It's already happening. So we have to make sure we speak up. In the diaspora, we have many resources. We have stakeholders that we have access to here in Washington, D.C. And if you're in Europe, you have stakeholders that you have access to who are vested in the future of our country. So we have to make sure that resources in the diaspora, especially for taxpayers here in the United States, are used for the democratic purposes in Uganda. We don't want resources coming from the diaspora being used to harass and torture Ugandans and torture our candidates on the ground. So those are some of the pressure points we can rely on as the diaspora to make sure we have free, fair, and transparent elections for all our candidates in Uganda. Other resources we can do, it doesn't have to be financial. You can participate in the campaign. If you can go, knock on doors, make sure you talk to people about our candidates. That's also a critical role that we can play as a diaspora, because we have seen institutions that work. We have seen governments that work. We have seen democratic principles in action. So we can discuss about these issues to our Ugandan friends and colleagues. We can talk about what can work in a campaign. We have been part of campaigns here in the diaspora. We just have to do the same and mentor our candidates, our youth candidates on the ground, to make sure their message gets to the people and to make sure we turn up the vote election day. Resources I've talked about, education resources, books can make a difference. We have our young people who are struggling to get access to a good education. In the long term, we have to start looking at those things. How do you educate our population? Because we know an educated population is an engaged population. If our young people are more educated, they understand what's at stake, they understand they can get better opportunities. We need to make sure we open those channels, not just from the diaspora, but also in the ground back in Uganda. So those are some of the issues. I know it sounds repetitive, but it's important to emphasize it, that from the perspective of the diaspora, you have to engage in, right now, if you're not on the ground, you need to at least donate $10 if you can, because that $10 here makes a difference back home. It might be $20, it might be $50. It might not sound a lot to you here in the diaspora, but back on the ground, it can make a difference in making sure these candidates can get transportation, make sure they get food, make sure they have water for the teams working on the ground, make sure they have campaign materials. If you have access to campaign materials, charts, flyers, these are things which our candidates can use on the ground. So let's make sure we mobilize from the diaspora. We get those resources through the People Power official platforms, as well as directly reaching out to our candidates on the ground. So again, thank you again for listening to us. Thank you for this opportunity. Let's keep pushing forward. Let's support these inspiring leaders, because we know how hard it is in Uganda. Most of us in the diaspora are here because we lacked opportunities back home.
Yes.
So we really understand what young people are going through on the ground. People who go to university and they graduate and can't find a job. People who find a job but still they're poorly paid.
Yes.
So we need to make sure that we push for a better Uganda. Uganda has the resources, but it's the allocation of the resources which is the challenge that can be fixed by better leadership. So again, I appeal to the diaspora, let's step up. Let's not sit back and hope things are just going to happen by themselves. You have to go out and make it happen. I know recently we lost a great civil rights leader, John Lewis, those of you who know him. He taught us one thing is that you cannot sit in your house and change happens.
No.
You have to go out. He calls it get in good trouble. We have to have the courage to get in good trouble because what you're fighting for is not, you're not breaking any law. By going to participate, get in civic service is not breaking the law. It's your right as a Ugandan to get your voice heard. So if it means getting in good trouble by getting your voice heard, then it's worth getting in good trouble. So I encourage everyone in diaspora and back on the ground, let's get in good trouble. Thank you so much, Patricia.
Thank you very much, Comrade Daniel. You have inspired me. That's how inspiring that was. And so let's move on to Comrade Sas Marvin. What have we as People Power done, are doing, and yet to do to change the status quo?
First of all, we have changed certain mindset. Yeah, we have detoxified minds. Yeah, like I said earlier, there has been a lot of discouragement from some leaders that elections and the struggle in general are things that should take a little of our time. Yeah, there's been a lot of discouragement for young people like me that don't participate in this process. It's going to lead nowhere. This man is too entrenched. He cannot get out of power and things like that. So what People Power has done, and especially what our leader has done, is to open our minds and make us believe again that it's possible. Yeah, that if we believe, we can achieve. So there has been a mass awakening of people. There has been a mass awakening of young men and women like me to once again pay attention to the goings on in their country. Yeah, that they were previously not paying attention to. And all this really is because of People Power. We have so many youth, not just youth, by the way, but even adults and even elderly people interested in politics finally, because they finally see a leader who is likely to bring the change we have all been yearning for. Yeah. So you credit that to People Power. Day and night, we still do more of mobilization. We still do more of teaching. We still do more of spreading hope. Yeah. Spreading the word about change and trying to get people interested. Yeah. Trying to wake up those who are still in slumber, trying to expose the injustices that brought us in the struggle in the first place. And trying to engage those who are still on the line and those who are the other side, yeah, of who are the other side of the oppressor. That is something that People Power is doing, and People Power has done and will continue to do. We have been encouraging youth to participate in the election, in the national youth election, because previously they had been given the impression that this is an election that even if you participate in, you cannot win much from it. There's not a lot to gain. But now we are telling the youth, no, it's actually possible. We just have to have the right mindset and do that we need to do to get success in this youth election. So we are awakening young people. Yeah, telling them, please get interested in these processes. Please participate in the youth elections, and that is causing positive change. Yeah.
Yes.
But what we are yet to do, and like I keep saying, what we should not do is that besides supporting and besides talking, we must do that will actually get us change that we desire. We must vote.
Yes.
Yeah, we must vote massively. We must close our eyes to all the noise around us that tells us it's not possible. Yeah, because guess what? When Museveni was confusing, I will say confusing. Yeah, when Museveni was confusing his fellow campus mates in 1980, whatever, when he went to the bush, that guys, let's go to the bush. He looked like a joker. Yeah, these were 27 chaps.
Yes.
Yeah, these were 27 chaps going to the bush to fight a government having every sort of artillery, every sort of ammunition, but because they believed and they closed their ears to all the negativity around them, they had this blind faith. That's what we need going into this election. So we must vote massively, yeah. And it's not just about voting. We must keep at the polling station and make sure that our vote is protected, yeah. And should they attempt to rig the election, we must, like Comrade Daniel has said, we must get into good trouble to make sure that our will, which we expressed by dropping our ballot in the ballot box, is enforced. Yeah. So let's not just look on. There was an amendment in the Presidential Elections Act and other electoral laws, and now they say that results at a polling station can be declared when there is even in the presence of a minimum of either 2 or 3 voters. Now, if you're not very critical about the situation in Uganda, you may not understand what they mean by that. But the intention is, or the possibility is, that they will attempt to chase away other people besides the 2 or 3 voters that the law says, and a result can be declared in the presence of 3 people. They can say that so long as we have these 3 voters, the rest of you, we don't need you. So people must be alert, and people must resist that uncreative interpretation of the law. So we must vote, we must protect the vote, and even if we protect the vote and still realize that people are doing things that people are declaring results that are not necessarily those that are in the ballot box, we must make the noise, and we must do all that. All that, I want to be quoted very clearly. We must do all that we feel in our conscience is right to make sure that we enforce our will. Yeah, we are not worse than those who went to the bush and killed their way to power. Yeah. So thanks to People Power, that's what it is doing, and that is what must be done. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Comrade Marvin. To those listening to us today, the young people that are tuning in right now, Changani Sentamu Robert is not asking you to pick up guns. He's simply asking you to fight for your country. He's asking you to vote, and he's also asking you to protect your vote. Maria, Comrade Maria, I know your network has been giving you trouble. Thanks for joining us today. I'm going to ask you the same question that I just asked Comrade Marvin. What have we as People Power done, are doing, and yet to do to change the status quo?
Thank you very much. I'm sorry for really coming in late. I was in the field and caught up and late there. Plus, my network has also not been good, and it is not yet good, but I am happy and glad to be here. I'm Maria Ledukwaska Natabi, the Eastern Youth Coordinator for People Power, and I'm also in charge of youth elections of People Power is doing, and what People Power has done. Especially, I'll talk about the youth wing. People Power has enlightened youths and brought them close to the table where decisions are made. And that is why you see that we have a youth wing fully fledged, which works upon youth matters in the movement. And that has given youths and very many young people, empowered them to be able to serve their country. And after giving us that structure, we've also been given responsibility. We make decisions that are taking People Power in front and going to build this country as young people in this movement. And People Power is the only opposition political formation that has come out openly to say youths have a voice, youths must be heard, and that is why we are promoting the youth council elections. Because before that, youth council elections have been engaged in or participated in by only the ruling party. But this time round, we are saying whichever political party you participate in, you as long as you are a young person, you must participate in the decision-making process for your young leaders at village level, at parish level, at sub-county level, and all that. And that is why we are mobilizing young people to come up and contest and also vote for their youth leaders. People Power is also planning to ensure that but that is what it's set to do, planning to ensure that everyone is involved, because we believe that when we come together, we can we can get further, and that is what People Power is also doing.
Perfect.
Just to supplement on what Comrade Marvin was saying.
Thank you very much, Comrade Maria. Comrade Nyeko, I'm going to move on to you. What challenges have you faced as a youth leader while changing the status quo?
We are facing a number of challenges that include intimidations and threats from the state, whereby it has gone ahead to intimidate and also go ahead. It has intimidated both our families, our friends, and those are some of the young people that are willing to stand in and stand firm for the right cause. However much most of those intimidations have come in, but we are still ready and firm to fight for what is right and what is the right thing at the moment as a generation to focus on. However, we also have a financial problem whereby in running campaigns, of course, like my brother said, we need finance to have the posters. We need we need finance to have posters. We need finance to fuel the cars. We need finance to move to every village so that we will reach out and give them this message. We also need finance to manage or organize ourselves to be in position to take over power. So we have a number of issues that of course limit us to do whatever we can to serve the nation. But however, I want to assure everyone that we are doing everything, even with the little resources we have, even with intimidation. We are trying to do whatever it takes to say that we stand for the hope that Honorable Chagulanyi has awakened in us.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Comrade Nyeko.
Well,
go on,
Comrade Patricia.
please.
Well, Comrade Patricia. When it comes to the youth elections, I want to tell the whole nation and all those brothers and sisters out there that the young people who are coming even to run for the lowest positions, let me assume the chairperson of one village in somewhere in Nakawa, the RDCs are calling, the DSOs are calling to intimidate them so that they do not even run to the lowest position, so that the National Unity Platform does not have
we have lost Comrade Nyeko, but he was talking about intimidation from the state for the youth leaders that are, aspiring candidates that are running for different positions, who are being intimidated by the state so that they do not fill in their forms and they do not get the chance to participate in the next election. Comrade Marvin, what challenges have you faced?
Well, the challenges are many, both at a personal level and at a much more general level. I usually say that while People Power has opened so many doors for me, my participation in the struggle generally has also closed a number of doors. Yeah. So there are people who can give you jobs because of what I do in People Power. But there are also those who will, at the mere identification of me and People Power, they would not want to have me in their space. Yeah. And so sometimes it appears like you cannot be in the struggle and then still sort of like continue to live the life you either were living before or the life that you that you want to live. But ultimately, what encourages me is the realization that I am doing the right thing. Yeah, it may come with a lot of pain, it may come with a lot of challenges, it may come with so many missed opportunities, but it's the right thing to do. Yeah. And just like our friends who went to the bush and spent sleepless nights being bitten by mosquitoes and being hunted by machine guns and stuff, I feel that even me, this is my contribution. If I have to do something to be in the struggle, no problem. But also at a general level, we have a scarcity of resources. Yeah. That now just that, like you see the ongoing youth elections, I get calls from coordinators all over Western Uganda. I get calls from Kasese, you get calls from Hoima, you get calls from Barara, you get calls from Port Poto of our foot soldiers. Yeah, the youth coordinator saying, I need money for this, I need money for that, we need an office, we need materials, we need transport, but you see, there's just no money.
Yeah.
There's just no money at all.
Yeah.
And so that becomes a challenge, and that somehow stifles the struggle. And at times it can be demoralizing, because if you find that you are incapable of doing anything that you have to do to make sure that the youth election is a success, it can be a bit challenging. But of course, what should be quite obvious, the other challenge we have faced is persecution. Yeah,
Yes.
persecution, be it from the state security operatives, be it from state institutions, through trumped up charges and things like that. The persecution is so much, for the simple reason that we identify with the struggle, and we are doing what we do to make sure that we change this the status quo. So in July, just after July last year, when we had been appointed youth coordinators, we moved around the whole country, but we got arrested like on two of those occasions. We got arrested in Moroto because we were speaking to a small gathering of people. We got arrested again in Kasese on my birthday. That was on 1st October last year. And so that constant interference, yeah, and intimidation by state operatives tends to also somehow be a major challenge. That's why
Yes.
you see that even when our principal Bobi Wine was trying to hold consultative rallies, the police and military made sure they don't happen. So we are supposed to be at Popo Memorial Center for consultation. They deploy tons and tons of soldiers. And to make the message sink even further, they decide that the best thing to do at the material time was to kill our comrade Rita Kenya, because they knocked her off the motorcycle she was riding on when she was going to attend first Bobby's appearance at court for the OTT case, and then later the consultation at Popo. So because of those challenges, it's a bit risky, it's demoralizing, but we push on nevertheless, because freedom always has a price.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you very much, Comrade Marvin. And again, we thank you for everything that you all are doing on the ground. And Comrade Julius, what challenges have you faced in this movement? Please unmute.
Hello.
We can hear you.
Yes, please.
What challenges have you faced in this movement while advocating for peace and freedom in Uganda?
Thank you very much, Comrade Patricia. Now, on the students' movement, I think we've registered the biggest number of challenges, especially that most of our, by virtue of us being identified as people power alone puts us in a lot of trouble. It has implicated, and personally, we being on the helm of advocacy for students' genuine challenges, it has put the general students community in trouble with the regime. You've seen us being arrested several times. Around October 22nd, when 15 of our colleagues, female colleagues, were first picked on and were picked on and arrested. As we were picked on and arrested for several days. I was personally held for 4 days. And just when I returned a few days as I was coming from NBS, I was again abducted. Just before I know it, I get arrested a lot again. In the process, I was beaten. My jaws were twisted. My arms, my genitals were tampered with, and very many challenges that come by and by. We've gotten constant threats life threats on ourselves. I've had colleagues, you've seen colleagues like Roy Semboga being arrested in the recent past, and they are using the history of the meetings that we've held in the students' wing to discuss policy matters and other issues against him. I saw the police spokesperson we engage. We've seen guild presidents still within the institution's wing. You've seen Comrade Byron Ruswata of Nkumba, who is one of us, getting impeached. You've seen Comrade Tunduru Jonathan nearly getting impeached. And the story was not any different from me. They have gotten students, fellow student leaders who have been working with, and they have turned them against us. They have used the money to buy them off. As I speak right now, I am still in debt. I am seated on a debt of over 60 million with our leadership. Yet this is money we budgeted for. This is money that belongs to us. But the institutions have refused to release it to us up to date. And the crime is simple. It is because we identify with the ideas of change. It is because we identify with the people power movement. And we cannot come out to cry to people all the time that, you know, we are facing these challenges. I have, as I speak personally, we've been, the universities have been giving guild presidents privileges here and there. I can assure you that we've not tested those privileges, and that is not only limited to me as Julius, but I'm speaking for other guild presidents, the one of Mbarara, the one of Nkumba, the one of Chambogo, and any other guild president that happened to be people power, or that happens to be people power, register these challenges. However, we shall not, I want to tell you that we shall not settle, we shall not relent, and we shall not tire. For we know that the cause that we are pushing is the right one. We have told students that we either get to participate or be participated. I will not stand on the side of those who get participated. I'm going to participate in the process of bringing change about in this nation. That is the struggle we chose, and that is what we know. That is what we continue to do amidst threats, amidst arrests. I want to encourage everyone that you should know, you colleagues in the diaspora, you're the ones who give us motivation. You and then you should continue to rally behind the students and other wings, because the funny bit around us as students is we cut across. You find us in students wing, you find us in policy teams, then you find us in the youth wing of the movement as well. We need your constant encouragement and constant motivation, so that we continue doing what is believed to be right, or what is right, even when it is very unpopular, or when at times when it proves challenging and expensive. The other major challenge is a challenge from within. Many of our colleagues fall off midway. The presidents get bought off or get discouraged because, you know, they come in and they are people power, and then they feel like they are not being given tasks. We give them tasks from within here and there, but sometimes they feel it is not enough. So we've seen a number of our colleagues fall off in the process, but we continue to mobilize ourselves together. We continue to talk to one another, to keep together, and to encourage the secretariat and other authorities to ensure that these students feel extra engaged and involved in the process. That we've done and we shall continue to do for the good of the general struggle. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Comrade Katarega. Thank you again. Comrade Daniel, what goes into your mind when you hear these chilling stories from the youth? Please unmute.
Yeah, it's very disappointing, but it's not surprising, because we have also had the government even jump all the way to the diaspora to interfere with not only with our activities in our organization. So it doesn't surprise me that the government is also interfering with events like student activities on the ground, making life difficult for leaders who are the future of, who are actually the leaders of today. Because if you develop this animosity among young people, it's not good for our nation. These are people who mean well. These are people who want Uganda to work for everybody. They have not done anything. They haven't done anything like the NRM did in 1986 to go to the bush. These are people who just want to be part of the process, the democratic process. But it suddenly means that that's the attitude we have within our government, that you have to go, instead of competing fairly in an election, present your ideas and have the voters decide which party has the better ideas to move Uganda forward. You go ahead and you start infringing on the human rights of fellow citizens. I see it here in the diaspora. Even people are surprised that, you know, Kauma can even come and advocate for people power. I tell people, what's wrong with me standing up and for what I believe is right? Because I don't have to line up. Here in the United States, I debate with Republicans, and they don't see me any different. We break bread together. We work together. We play together. We play sports together. They belong to a different party. I belong to a different party. But there's this mentality in Uganda that everyone has to be NRM. I don't know where that mentality comes from, that we cannot move on as a country by having successful opposition, that it always has to be NRM or nothing else. There's that mentality in our society, and that has to change. And I hope, I encourage our young people to keep at it. Don't give up, because we need to show that it's okay to have diverse views and opinions. Or not only one policy is good enough. It doesn't matter if you're talking about job creation. It doesn't matter if you're talking about healthcare in Uganda. It doesn't matter if you're talking about agriculture. You need competing ideas on the table. The reason why our parliament is ineffective is because we don't have any competing ideas. We have a group of majority who come and say, this is the policy. So we don't allow the other side of Uganda to present anything on the table. So I think that's the attitude which we need to change. It's very discouraging, and I encourage young people to hang in there. And I hope in the future we'll have a government that respects opposing opinion, and even me being part of People Power. I hope if People Power is able to gain, to win the next election, that People Power opens up political platforms so that we have open debate in Uganda. We don't need to have people hiding, people scared of standing up to speak their mind because they're afraid of being tortured, they're afraid of being arrested, they're afraid of their families being harassed. So I think it's very discouraging, and it motivates me as a Ugandan in the diaspora that we have to keep pushing. We have to make sure we open the channels so the diaspora can see what's happening in our country. And the only thing we can do right now from the diaspora is offer support, as much support as we can, to our young people. You have heard their stories that they need financial support. So let's step up. Let's donate where we can. If you don't have the money, donate some resources, give them some campaign materials, keep advocating for their rights and liberties. That's what we can do from the side of the diaspora. But again, it's disappointing to hear some of these stories. But again, I'm encouraged to see that even among difficult situations, we have brilliant young people who are willing to risk it all because they want a better Uganda. There's nothing as courageous as that. And we need to keep pushing forward. And that's why I think the young generation is the generation which is going to change Uganda for the better. So thank you so much for tuning in today. Again, let's keep moving forward. Let's support the People Power movement. Let's go and register, get our membership, NUP, because through that registration, through the donations we make to the party, that's how we're going to move Uganda in the better direction and support these brilliant leaders. So thank you, Patricia, for hosting us today.
Thank you. And, you know, talking about, it was very important to bring up the issue of challenges that youth and activists are, you know, facing, because for anyone out there that's going through something, we just want you to know that you're not alone. I myself, living here in the diaspora, we are going through so much. The regime is definitely, you know, watching our every step, our every movement, constant hacking of our phones, computers, WhatsApp accounts. And so do not be discouraged. continue to fight. We are almost there. The dictators' days are numbered. And so we're going to move on to Comrade Maria. What opportunities have you had in this movement under the leadership of Honorable Kyagulanyi Ssentamu?
Thank you very much, Comrade Patricia. There are so many opportunities that have come my way and the way of the young people who are in this movement under the leadership of Honorable Kyagulanyi, the next president of this country. The first opportunity that I was given as a person is I've been given a platform to be at the forefront, at the front line, to change this country, to change the leadership of this country and the social life of the people in this country. Because I am a youth representative, youth coordinator for Eastern Region, and me being given that platform to coordinate young people all over the eastern part of Uganda in itself is an opportunity, so that I can bring more people on board, more young people to believe in this change and actually advocate for it. That is a very big platform, and I'm thankful that I will also be counted among those people who are going to change, who will change this country, because I believe we are going to achieve this. We are going to change the leadership of this country, and we're also going to change the ways in which the people in our country live. And the other opportunity I got as a person is mentorship. The president, I call President, Honorable Kyagulanyi Ssentamu Robert, is a very, very wonderful mentor who has very wide range of experience, from the ghettos, from the music industry, from being a public figure, and also being a leader. I'm not saying a politician, that I'm not so sure, but being a leader. So when he's a person, getting someone like him to guide you through what you do as a young person is a very big opportunity. The other opportunity I've gotten is visibility and empowering my voice. Before being a coordinator or a leader in People Power, or even coming out openly to advocate for the different things we've been advocating for, my voice was a little.
We lost Comrade Maria. Sas Marvin, can you talk to us about the opportunities you have been given? Please unmute.
Power and
Hello?
Go on ahead, Maria. Maria, you can go on ahead and finish up. All right, we've lost Maria. Comrade Sas Marvin, please.
I was saying strangely,
and
the opportunities
you,
are somehow
as you
similar
all
to what Maria
realize
has
that
been describing.
I
But
had lost you.
Yes.
But as all realize that all these opportunities I have gotten under People Power are opportunities that cannot be bought by money.
No.
These opportunities, however rich you are or however connected you are, you cannot just get this opportunity unless you're on the side of the people. So I'm just requesting and asking everyone out there, whichever political formation you are serving, are you serving the people? Are they giving you the chance to build Uganda, or are they just paying you off so that you can sell out your soul? For me, the opportunities I'm finding in People Power are things that cannot be bought. And so I cannot just give them out just for any piece of coin. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Comrade Sas Marvin, please go ahead.
yeah, well, like I was saying, when people are discussing involvement in this space, the opposition space, involvement in the struggle, especially these detractors, they discuss it from a point of negativity.
Yes.
Yeah. And so when they are trying to give you reasons why you should not be involved in People Power, why you should be involved in your law firm as a lawyer, they will only say bad things, negative things. They will show you risks. They will show you all sorts of worst case scenarios because of your involvement in People Power. Very few really stop to pause and focus on the possible gains, on the opportunities that there are. Yeah.
Yes.
So like I was saying earlier, that my involvement in People Power has given me exposure. quite like what Comrade Maria has already said, that I usually say that even before People Power, even before 2017, I was active on social media. I was active on Facebook. The things that I say now are not things I started saying when People Power came onto the scene. These are things I was saying straight from my first year at campus, which was 2013. But the difference between then and now is that whatever point I had to make then did not have as much audience. Yeah.
Yes.
It did not have an anchoring that would pull people to come and pay attention. Yeah, but now when you say anything under the cover of People Power, there is a big audience, yeah, out there that will pay attention to what you're saying. If it's a video like this one, we are live. There are people who have been watching from where we started up to now because it's People Power.
Yes.
Yeah. Now that is something that in my mind I cannot even explain, because you may wonder, if I had the following of 5,000 people, why did people not pay much attention then as they are paying now? Yet even then I was still anti-government. I was still saying the same things. Yeah. So that is exposure that People Power has brought. I usually say people like Andrew Mwenda. Andrew Mwenda is a brilliant chap. No matter the nonsense he keeps spewing every now and then, he's a brilliant chap. But the things he says, even when he has a good point to make, it does not get bought by a big section of the crowd because it's simply on the wrong side.
Yes.
Yeah. But if he shifted and joined People Power and said the same things, he would have more people paying attention. He would have more people agreeing with him, but because he is identifying with the oppressor. Now, so People Power has given exposure. But the other thing People Power has given, which somehow similar to what Maria was saying, for me as a person, it has brought respect. Yeah. I am not a very, I'm a young person. Yeah, I have not achieved so much in life. I am not a professor. I don't hold a big job somewhere, but there is that subtle respect that I notice people having for me when they are interacting with me in a good way. Yeah,
Yes.
not because they fear me, not because of anything, but because of what I have been doing for People Power, or what I have been saying under the cover of People Power. Yeah. Just yesterday I was on a border, but because I jumped onto the border when I had my I have forgotten what they call it, but they pin it around here. It's round, so it had the People Power logo on it. And when the border chap saw me, he was like, "Oh, boss, Ogambo, yeah, so cool about Uganda wa." And where he was supposed to take me for 10K, he took me for 5K. And he said, when I see guys like you, because I was in a suit, yeah, I am a lawyer, so most of the times I want to appear in public in a suit. But he was like, when I see, of course, it's spoken in Uganda, but it was like, when I see men like you in a suit, I was coming out of Kamocha, yeah, where the secretariat is. So I was like, when I see men like you in a suit coming out of that place, by that place, he meant the People Power Secretariat. It was like, I feel energized. I feel like I am not alone. Yeah. I feel like someone as privileged as you is somewhere out there. Yeah. Fighting for me and stuff. And the man was so respectful in a nice way. So it has brought me respect, not just because of that border experience, but from so many interactions I have had with people. Yeah. The other opportunity it has brought, which can also be tempting a bit, is it has brought job offers. So, like I was saying, that part of my involvement has has made me unemployable, but it has also made me employable. Just last week, someone was telling me there's a job somewhere. I don't want to go into details, but was saying there's a job. It is paying 6 million. It pays 6 million per month. But getting the job required me to have the card of a certain political party. I don't want to mention that party because strangely, it's not even in RM. It's in the opposition.
Yeah.
But he was saying that to get that job, I must first have a card of that party. And I know this is a person who was not just pulling my leg, because it's a person I've known for a long time. So I know that he was serious. But I know that if it had not been because of my involvement in People Power, he would not have come with that job offer. Yeah. So People Power has given me exposure and has given me a platform on which my talents can be realized by people. Yeah.
Yes.
Like him. And so that's why I started by saying that sometimes we focus so much on the negativity, we focus so much on the risks of being involved in a struggle, and we close our eyes to the sea of possibilities out there. Sometimes I sit down and wonder what happens when we actually take power. 2021. Yeah, I want to pose that question for everyone watching us. What happens when we actually take the power? Because so many say it's impossible, you cannot get Museveni out of power. What happens when we do? Yeah.
Thank you very much, Comrade Sas Marvin. That's very inspiring. Comrade Katerega Julius, what opportunities have you had as a people power activist and leader under the leadership of Changla Nisintumurabe? Please unmute. Comrade Julius, unmute, please. All right. I don't think he can hear us. If he does, he has not unmuted. Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Yes, we can.
Thank you very much. I'm sorry about that. Like I was saying, at the start, I introduced myself as the guild president of Makerere University. That is one of the opportunities that came to me as a result of being an ardent member or supporter of the People Power movement. I was not alone. I ran a campaign with a number of other colleagues who also happened to come from People Power. But because of my earlier stand of being a member of the struggle before even formulation of People Power, that was a major addition. So People Power is one of the major reasons I became a guild president. I mean, we are 85 and I am the 85th. That is, to me, that is a privilege, sitting, knowing that in the history of Makerere, I share a line with greats like Tumusime Mtebile, like Doralo Tunus, and somehow somebody will come and read a name and say, oh, Katerega Julius was also one of them. I am very grateful for that. Then, the movement, identification, People Power has given me a lot of exposure. You see, people may know me for being a guild president, and they do not want to listen to my story before that, coming from the ghetto and being a shoe vendor, even as a university student. When People Power came about, I realized that within ourselves, People Power meant that a person rising beyond their means and doing something that benefits everyone. That is one of the reasons I offered myself for leadership. That much as I do not have, I come from an underprivileged background, much as I was, but I got motivated. I got into a cocoon or in a group of a society of colleagues. Very many like me were willing to see change. And indeed, when we decided that we must offer a change beginning from leadership, colleagues told me that, Julius, I think we should take. So for me, two things. One, it has motivated me. It has given me leadership opportunities, and it has exposed me out there. I mean, when even as I speak, when I get out to speak, people listen to me. I have seen guild presidents, my predecessors, who people didn't want to listen to. Who people didn't want to listen. It is not because of only their identification. The other is mentorship. Very many people have come to me, both from government. I want to repeat it, both from the NRM and from the opposition. When very many wanted to sway me into their system, but midway I've learned one or two things from them. Some of them have been leaders before, and they have taught me one or two things. Now, much as I have had the movement as being a member of People Power has also put me in trouble. It has actually it has also given me lots of advantages. Currently, I'm running. I am running for LC5 in Kawepe South 1. And everywhere I go and I tell people that I am running, they told me, so you, the Katerega Julius, the one who leads, who has been guild president under People Power, and I tell them yes. And very many people have bought me for that. For me, I am grateful, and I will continue, and I'm continuing to do what I have to do and what I know is right and what should be done under the movement. I think very many things continue to come our way as a result of identifying with or as the space or as the number of believers of People Power grows. Very many people come and begin to identify with us, and that has provided a number of opportunities to me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Comrade. Comrade Nyeko, I am going to move over to you. What role can young people watching you at home play to ensure that the future belongs to the youth, in brief?
Sorry, I didn't get you right.
So what role can young people that are listening?
Patricia, I didn't get you right.
All right. So what role can young people watching you at home right now play to ensure that the future belongs to the youth?
Well, several young people can do several things to support the movement or to support the National Unity Platform, because all we are representing are the ideas, and we are following our conscience and what we think should be the right thing in this time of the generation.
We have lost Comrade Nyeko.
By what
all right.
think.
We can't hear you, Comrade Nyeko. Sorry about that. Sas Marvin, can you please finish this question for us?
Sorry?
Comrade Nyeko, we can't hear you well. Sas Marvin, can you please let us know what role young people that are watching us today at home can play in ensuring that the future belongs to the youth?
Oh, number one, 2021, please go out and vote and get. I'm not saying go out and vote for Museveni. I'm not go out, vote for Honorable Chagulanyi Sentam and all those other candidates who are pro-change. Yeah, yes. Give them your vote. Stay at the polling station. Guard that vote. Yes. Make sure the will of the people, your will, is enforced through that election. So number one, vote, 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 and vote. Number two, keep preaching to those who have not seen the light like you. Some of us have our parents, we are prayed for NRM because NRM brought sleep. Keep preaching to them, keep showing them what's up. Yeah. Don't get tired, do not get frustrated, do not fear. Approach people, talk to them, preach to them, change. There are so many people out there. Preach to your fellow youth who are not yet interested in these things like they want to call them. Especially, I don't want to sound sexist, but especially to our colleagues, the females. Preach to them. Life is not just about Instagram. Life is not just about Facebook. It's not just about going to nice and funky restaurants and having nice stuff to eat. Interest them in the struggle. Now, specifically to the females out there, we need more people.
Comrade Nyeko, can you mute your mic, please?
I keep saying that if women understood how much more power they have than men, this struggle would have been won a long time ago. The way they arrest a woman is not the way they arrest a man. There are things you can do to a man that you cannot do to a woman. When Stella Nyans is on the street, there are very many things they can do to her, but also there are very few things they can do to her because she is a woman. Yeah? So if women understood their power and they joined the struggle in large numbers, our work would be half done. Yeah. So I encourage specifically my female colleagues out there to join the struggle. Yeah, I encourage you, those of you who are not on the front line, to create a perfect environment for those on the front line. If you know me, Marvin, went to the same school, we are neighbors or we are siblings. You may not participate in people power, but do not discourage me. Yeah, because that discouragement can actually work. You can discourage me and I back off a bit, but maybe the country needs voices like mine and others to not go into a power's place than it already is. So even if you say you are not interested in participating, don't discourage those who are, because the same way you are not participating, you have your reasons. I also have my reasons for participating. Participating does not mean I am a fool. Going into a protest where I know there's likely to be tear gas and live bullets does not mean I am stupid. I have fundamental reasons why I participate. So the last thing you want to do, the last thing you should do is to discourage those who are participating. But I want to re-emphasize 2021, we must vote. We must encourage everyone who is an eligible voter to go out and vote and protect that vote and make sure that Honorable Robert Chagulanyi is our next president. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Comrade Sasmave. And one thing that really stood out to me is that he said that not only should you go out and vote, but you should stay at the polling station to protect your vote. It's going to start from there. And I will move on to Comrade Maria. As we conclude, can you please give us a breakdown of the amount of money it costs to sustain a campaign? And I'm talking about for an individual activist.
As I answer that question, I will also supplement to what Comrade Marvin has just said. Every young person out there, please abuse the character and the habit of monetization and militarization of politics, because that is the only way we are going to beat Museveni at his game. He has ensured this so that he uses that against us. So we have to use that against. Honorable Kyagulanyi said, you play your part. So if you want to see that you ensure that that change comes your way. So as I answer that question, that is the first thing. Because elections have been made more because of monetization. Butembe Member of Parliament, for Member of Parliament in Butembe County in Jinja District. It is a direct seat, so I'm competing with men. But because, and they're old men, most of them have a lot of money to splash out there, yet some of us are just out of school, we've not yet made that money. Some of them have just stolen it. So going straight to the question, I'll first go to the youth election. Any person standing or contesting for youth elections, one of the first things he has to do, because Electoral Commission has failed to do its job, it is siding with the ruling party. So candidates are not being given out this, and also ensure that he photocopies for all other people who are going to contest on as youth council members in all those villages that are supposed to vote for him. I'm talking about this particular election because it is the election at hand. Yes. So downloading that copy from electoral commission website and photocopying it. For example, I'll give an example. In Butembe County, where I reside, we have 98 villages. So someone to win that particular election, let me say in my sub-county, which has 53 villages, has to photocopy and supply those forms to people, which Electoral Commission has to do. So it is going to cost someone something like 50,000 shillings to do that. Yes. But that is a challenge brought by the poor systems we have in the country. Electoral Commission has to serve people, but it is serving the ruling party. After them ensuring that they've done that, they then have to mobilize for candidates to come and contest as youth council members in each and every village, because these are the candidates who are going to vote for them at parish level. Mobilization alone will take a candidate a minimum of 20 to 30,000 a day, because they are going to hire out a boda. I'm talking about minimums here. They're going to hire out a boda to move in all those different villages to mobilize for people to stand, but also mobilize people to vote for that team of theirs so that they are voted for at parish level and the subsequent levels. That means 10,000 to hire out that boda, but also 10,000 to fuel it. So they also may have to facilitate the boda rider and themselves for lunch, which I'll say it is like 5,000 per person, which is 30,000. After that, we now go to nominating. Because electoral commission is still siding with the ruling party, any young person in opposition vying for this position has to ensure that he collects these forms and works together hand in hand with the opposition political party. In this instance, they are working hand in hand with the youth coordinators of National Unity Platform to ensure that these forms are collected from all these villages and submitted to electoral commission at the district level. One, to avoid voters from being intimidated, because they will be, when you submit at the sub-county level, voters are being intimidated and told to withdraw so that NRM candidates are unopposed. Others are bought off, so no one wants to offer those people, those candidates, to offer them out to the NRM to buy them off. Then also for the safety of these young people who are contesting, that is why they do that. Then we go to the campaign bit. For youth councils, we may not need posters, but because we are in COVID time, I know they are planning a trick that everyone who comes to vote has to have a mask. So this person coming to contesting at a village level must ensure that they have a mask for each and every person who is going to line up behind them. Remember, the election for youth councils is by lining up at village, parish, and sub-county levels. So they have to ensure that these people have masks to go and line for them. But also, they ensure that they have to transport these people from their places to the polling station. That also goes at a cost, and it depends on how big your village is. So after doing all that and you win this election, you have to remobilize these 99 people who have gone through. Still, now that becomes an electoral college where most of the people vote for money and not for ideas, and not for change, and not for things that are going to build the country, but rather for money. That is why I really started out on a strong point that as young people, we should abuse, and that should be our part. If you're not contesting, please don't make life hard for that young person vying for certain positions. That is for the youth elections. If I go to councillors and MPs and what, you have to budget for posters. That is visibility. You have to budget for you have to budget for you have to budget for consultation meetings before you go into this election. Before when you come for these posters, you have to consult all local council leaders almost. You have to consult all opinion leaders, women councils, youth councils, religious leaders, every kind of opinion person in that place. That will cost you. You'll have to buy, like, you'll have to plan for transport. But most of these opinion leaders are also money oriented. That the minute you're going there to consult them, they will always ask for kasukari. They will always ask for some little monies for them to start campaigning for you or work for you, something of the kind. So after that, then you go out into the voters, do consultation meetings for you to pick their ideas, because as people power, we believe it is the movement of the people, and we get ideas from the people. We just don't come up with a certain manifesto without hearing from the people and what their part will be. Because when you have a challenge as a community, everyone should pledge what their part will be, for them to for that challenge, for them to solve the challenge at hand. So you have to go and consult the people. That will involve transport. So transport to reach out to these people, you always have to budget for fuel. I'll give an example. In my constituency, I use at least 60,000 for fuel a day. And for people like us who don't have vehicles, you have to hire out a vehicle. Hiring out a vehicle is between 50,000 and 80,000, according to where you're hiring it from and how long you're going to use it. So such things, that is transport to go meet voters and do what and do what and all those things. But apart from posters, we also have other logistics that are needed. For example, when you're in people power, all your agents have to have berets. Berets range from 30,000 to 50,000, and you have to have agents at least 10 per village. These people have to have berets. They ask for t-shirts. Some of them want overalls. So such logistics. Now masks is the thing. You can't go anywhere and you don't ask for masks. When the year was beginning, you had to print calendars, and printing calendars for all households in your constituency, it is very expensive, because I'll tell you, one calendar goes for 500 shillings. When you have a constituency like mine that has over 15,000 households, that means you have to multiply that times the number of calendar. You have to multiply that times the cost of calendars, which is really a big thing. So the cost of being a candidate in Uganda is very, 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 very high. But I'm just appealing to every voter that let us abuse the habit of monetization of politics, so that we are able to listen out to able leaders, not investors, because we're having investors who come in to invest as in politics or leadership as a business, and they go to parliament or they go to councils to reap. So those are the people who are going to be selling out ideas from the people. Those are the people who are going to be selling out the jobs and contracts, and to those people who have enough money and not care about the country and the people they are leading. I know I cannot really break it down to the dot if I'm not given one position to break out into, because I have to. Every position as a candidate has its own budget. But what I can tell you, for MPship, the least amount of money you must have to at least be among the competitive people to be among the competitors in a constituency. For LC5 councillors, it has to be at least 300 million for you to be among competitors. For LC3 councillors, it has to be around like 100 million, because from the time you go for consultations to the time you go to nominations to the time for polling, I had not talked about polling. Polling day is very, even nomination you have to, because of COVID they are trying to put away some of these things, but for polling day you have to plan. That has a separate budget, that you have to plan for a convoy of vehicles. You have to plan for people, border guys, to escort you. You have to plan for people to escort you. You have to plan for drinks and refreshments. You have to plan for nomination fees. That is a budget of its own. Polling day also has a budget of its own. You have to feed your agents. You have to hire borders in every particular village to monitor and ferry voters from their places of residency to the polling station. You have to have money to bribe police, so that just in case there is voter rigging, they come to your rescue in time. You have to bribe, like, the electoral commission also, just to announce you as a true winner. So all those things, that is what I call monetization of politics. And it has to start with the voter. Abuse that, then people, office bearers. So breaking down this whole thing has to be for a particular position. But like I've said, for those particular positions, that is the minimum. Then for these youth council elections, if you want to go to district level, I am a member of the National Youth Council. I represent Jinja District in the National Youth Council. In my last elections, for me to campaign from village level and go through at village level, at parish level, at sub-county, and also go through other districts to be able to represent Jinja District in the National Youth Council, I spent like 2 millions. But by then I was 19 years of age. You have to buy for people breakfast for them to vote for you. So this monetization of politics is very, very, very bad thing because it deprives us of good leadership. But
Yes,
it then presents to us people with money. I'm sorry to give a very broad explanation, but because I didn't know which exact position to talk for. Thank you, Comrade Patricia.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Comrade Maria. It is very important for Ugandans and the diaspora to understand these things from your point of view so that we can get more actively involved. And to close out, I'll let Dr. Daniel Kauma give a closing statement to Ugandans and people abroad as to how we can help our youth leaders, members of parliament, and the People Power movement.
Thank
Daniel,
you. Thank you, everybody who has tuned in. You can't hear me? Thank you, everyone who has tuned in today to listen to all our great, inspiring young leaders. For the diaspora, our job is clear, is to support these candidates to make sure they go through. You have listened to the stories, you have heard the challenges they go through. So with the opportunities we have in the diaspora, with some of the resources we have, let's reach out to these leaders, let's support them, let's make sure their path is smoother. They already have enough challenges to deal with, the way the regime has made the road challenging for these young people. So let's try to support them. Let's try to advise them. Let's try to be there for them. Even if you don't reach out to People Power itself, you can reach out to the individual candidates and make sure you support them. Just find out which region they are standing for, which village they are running or campaigning, and support them, support their cause. So for the diaspora, that's my message. Let's support our members. Let's donate. It doesn't matter how much you have, $10, $15, $50. Just make a commitment to make that support, maybe monthly or whatever you can, whenever you can, so we can move the diaspora forward. To the candidates, keep pushing forward, keep knocking on doors. The challenges in campaigning have been there, are tough, but I think people will respect you. People understand what People Power stands for. They know our values. They know what's going on in their communities. So I think we have a strong message. We have a powerful message. And I'm convinced we even have the numbers. We have more young people who want change in Uganda. The challenge is getting them out to vote. So we just have to make sure we spread the word. We do have the numbers to defeat NRM. It's a matter of making sure our voters turn up on election day. So thank you so much for tuning in. I don't want to take a lot of time, but for the diaspora, you see the number, there's a website to donate. Let's support our candidates. And to the candidates, keep up the good work, keep up the struggle, and thank you for sacrificing all you do. We appreciate you. We support you.
Thank you. Comrade Asas Marvin, any closing statement from you, briefly?
Blind faith. Yeah. To do what we want to do and to get the Uganda that we want, we must, among other things, have blind faith, because we are going to see so many things which are going to discourage us. Yeah, we are going to receive so much demobilizing messages, but we must have blind faith. We must have blind faith that we can do it. We must have blind faith that the election can deliver for us the president that we want, Honorable Kyagulanyi Ssentamu. We must have blind faith that despite the odds, the challenges and everything, we can do it, we can succeed. Yeah. So let us go out there, 2021. Let us vote. Let us remain at the polling station. And should they try to tamper with our votes, let us do that. That in our conscience is the right thing to do, to make sure that the will of the people is not overthrown. And to the comrades out there who are watching us, you have heard what we've had to say. Thank you very much. Please remember to support us. Remember to support the Youth Council elections. You have had the challenges that we've had to talk about. I encourage each one of you who can do something. If you have 1,500, 20,000, whatever you have, please contribute it to the campaign, because we need every penny
Yes.
that we can get for the struggle. Yeah, we are not going to get things on a silver platter. We are not going to get things for free. We are not going to get any results for free. So please donate whatever you can so that the struggle goes on up to its logical conclusion. Thank you for watching us.
Thank you. Thank you very much for everyone that tuned in. Sas Marvin, Maria Nantavi, Dr. Daniel Kauma, Nyeko, Derek, and of course, Julius Katalega. Thank you very much for coming here to talk about the difficulties and, of course, the opportunities. And so, happy Eid Mubarak, Muslims. I hope you enjoyed yourself today. We are NUP, we are People Power, and we are Ugandans. Enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you again.